Go live. All right.
Yay!
Hi. Hello, everybody. Today, we're talking about something super important. Spring is almost here. We're talking spring cleaning. We're talking decluttering, not just for the purposes of just regular everyday decluttering. We're talking about decluttering and minimalism for those of us who are looking to make a big change, right? If we're talking about moving abroad or we're talking about taking a sabbatical, we always have to tackle the stuff, right? What do I do with my stuff? So we have a special guest, Tosh Patterson, who is a decluttering expert, who is here today. I'm going to introduce Tosh in just a second, but we're going to talk to Tosh and ask her all of our questions. So I'm glad to see you here. Please say hi to us in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I'm glad to see you here. Please say hi to us in the replay and ask your questions. Don't assume that I'm going to ask the question that you have or make the comment that you have, because I'm not good at predicting that kind of stuff. So you have to ask your question. If you are thinking about moving abroad or you're thinking about downsizing so that you can afford more travel, if you're thinking about taking a sabbatical, we're going to talk about how to get started with the decluttering. Also, I'd like to talk about minimalism for Black women. How specifically do we do minimalism in a way that keeps joy, right? We can keep the stuff that we like and not be like those sad minimalists on YouTube who are just, they seem y'all have seen them. They seem really sad, but we don't, that's not what we're into. We're not into that. So, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, welcome to you. My name is Stephanie Perry. I am a year-round house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School. I help Black women take a sabbatical or move abroad on a budget. If this sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I post a new video. Welcome to you. And welcome to you, Tosh.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and we got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
We do have a lot of good stuff to talk about. Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm glad to see you guys in the chat. So the chat's going to move really quickly, and y'all know I'm on the third-party app called Ecamm Live, so I can't see everyone's comments, but I can see most of your chat comments. So keep them coming. All right, Tosh. So Tosh is on the East Coast. Tosh, you're in the DC area, is that right?
I am. I live in Maryland, just a few minutes from DC.
Okay. Tosh is doing something that I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you, but Tosh has moved from the big old house to the house that is the size of what they actually need, right? And she, I think, am I allowed to say that you're about to do something else?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all for this conversation. Yes,
Okay.
we can spill the beans.
Okay. So you and your husband are about to take off traveling full time. Is that right? Or did I make that up?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's 100% right. Our goal today is that we live in a 3-story townhouse. We want to basically go through it and purge even more. I mean, we don't have a ton of stuff, but because we're planning to move to Mexico at the end of the year, the
Oh,
beginning of 2022, I want to go at the end in December. My
okay.
Let's go in January of 2022. But that's our goal. So literally, whatever we don't donate or sell, we're just getting rid of. And our goal is to have each one suitcase and one backpack and move to Mexico. So I am on the journey with you guys. I have
Yes.
never done this before. But I do have, all the background in terms of going from a single family home that was, a nice posh house in the DC suburbs to a townhouse.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I have all this knowledge and experience, and I can't wait to share it.
Great, great. Okay, good. I didn't realize you guys were moving to Mexico. So you're going to a home in a town in Mexico, not like bopping
Yeah,
around full time traveling.
well, we're thinking that we're going to have a location,
Okay,
kind of a home base
okay,
for each quarter,
okay.
and we'll travel within a radius of that home base, and then we'll move somewhere else. Because my ultimate hope and vision is that we will love it so much after a year, we decide to stay either in Mexico or keep going somewhere else.
Very good chance of that. Very good chance of that. That's wonderful. Um, So I want to say hi to all of you in the chat. So hi to all of you in the chat. Justice is acting up in the chat already. She said the first thing she decluttered was her husband. He had to go. So listen,
I want to keep my husband. He doesn't need to go.
we, we,
I
we,
understand. I understand.
but we understand. We do want you. If it's not like we want, there are jobs that we hold on to for too long. Sometimes, if your country is not treating you right, we hold on to our country for too long, and sometimes we do hold on to relationships for too long. So, Jess, I'm glad that you were able to get jettison those things that were not serving you. But we're not,
Release it and let go.
yes, yes, release it, release it. All right. So Tosh, how do we how did you decide that you want to do one backpack, one suitcase? Like how did you decide how low you guys think you want to go? Because there are people who move to Mexico who put stuff on freight transit or on a ship or whatever and take a home full of stuff. Why did you guys decide that you don't want to do it that way?
Well, to answer your question, I want to take a step back
Okay.
and really share a little bit more details with people about having, the big single family home that we thought we were supposed to have. So it's just me and my husband. At the time, we didn't have a dog, a cat, a fish, no children, but we had this nice big house because it was a sign of our success. And we really felt like that was what we were supposed to do, right? We were checking off all the society says is success. And what happened was I was working a ton. We were both on the corporate grind, getting promotions and all that stuff. And I started to realize that I was in a very toxic work environment that wasn't serving me. But because it looked good on paper and I was making great money and I had the title and I had all the things, I was like, okay, well, let me just keep going because maybe I'm just having some kind of blip on the road.
Okay.
But I kept pushing and kept going, and ultimately, I ended up getting really, really stressed out.
Yeah.
I had some physical ailments, and I got really sick. And people didn't know how sick I was because I kept pushing and I kept going
That's
because
right.
I was like, well, what else am I supposed to do? And that's the message we get as Black women, right? Like,
It is.
girls, suck it up, push through, keep going. Ain't nothing wrong. You're gonna figure out. You got this. You're a queen. Da da da. All of that stuff, which is true, but there are moments when we need to pause. So I was really sick. I was going to all these doctor's appointments. I was getting referrals, and they could not find what was wrong with me. And so I was living in a state of not knowing the source of this illness and being really, really sick for about 7 months. And I had this moment where I dealt with my mortality, like I could die. And if I die, like, what is all of this stuff? Why do I have 3 closets of clothes? And I had a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, a family room, a basement, a mud room. And I just started looking around like, what is this? Like, I signed on for this? I know I did, but this doesn't, I don't know that this makes sense. So my husband and I started having conversations about, well, what kind of life do we really want to live? Like, what do we want to make time for? And out of that conversation was, we want to not have to work so hard. We want to have the time and ability to spend time with each other. We want to be able to travel for extended periods and not have to worry about this big yard that's in the front and in the back, or the maintenance of this house, or making the money to keep living in this house and all of that stuff. And so we started to realize, you know what, we can let this house go because we thought this was it. But now that we're living in it, we realize this is not it. And this is not in alignment with the life we say we want to live, which is to be able to travel more. So we sold the house, we sold all the stuff, we purged, and that's how I got into purging. Like, that's how I got into decluttering and reading articles. And I've done it from all different angles, from your clothes to your stuff to selling a house. And so now we're in this townhouse, and we don't have as much stuff as we used to have, but we still have stuff. And we decided that we want to be able to rent our townhouse. And in order to rent our townhouse, we need to be able that it's empty, and we don't want to pay for storage because we want to maximize our money while we're in Mexico. And we don't want to have to work a lot and all the things I just told you. So with that in mind, with that context and that framework, that's how we got to the point of we're not hauling a bunch of stuff with us to Mexico. This is a journey. This is an adventure. This is exploration. We want to travel light. We want to be able to have one suitcase so that it's easy to get up and down whatever apartments we rent. And wherever we go, it's easy for us to move about. And we actually did a 30-day stint in Bali. And in that 30-day stint together in Bali, we each only had one suitcase, one backpack, and we
Okay.
made it through
It
in the
worked.
30 days. So we have a little bit of experience and we know that we'd be able to do it. And we've also experimented with having one suitcase for both of us.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And my
Wow.
friends are like, "You're crazy," but so anyway, so that is the detailed answer to your question about how we got to decide that we only want one suitcase, one backpack, so we could travel light and not be encumbered by the stuff. And we think we'll have a lot more freedom and flexibility that way.
I'm so glad that you talked about the idea of hard work and looking at not just the hard work, but like looking at the whole your whole life and saying, wait a minute, did I pick this? Right? Did I pick this big house? Did I pick this? Black excellence, I say all the time, black excellence is killing black people. The idea that you
Mhm.
have to be excellent and show what it looks like to be excellent, right? Physically, you have to represent excellence, which is the huge house, the car, the huge expensive car, the huge expensive purses, the like all of that stuff.
Yep.
You probably haven't chosen to put make those things your priority, right? There are some people maybe, but a lot of us have those things and then have to say, wait, but why? Why do I
Right.
have these things? What is really on my goal? Like what is my real path? What do I really want?
Exactly.
We have a lot of things that are for other people to signal to other people that we're doing fine. And it's hard to stop that, right? Because we just don't see people who have a lot but don't show it, you know?
Right, exactly. And then we get lulled, we're unconsciously lulled into these scripts.
Hmm.
And if no one's shown you another way and no one's having a different conversation, how are you to know, right?
That's right.
That you could be happy and doing so in a different and new way. And that
Yes.
success doesn't have to equate those other things. But we live in a hustle culture in America
We do.
and we get sucked into it very unconsciously. And so, but I know the audience that you have, they're really looking to deviate from that. So they had some kind of awakening
Yes.
that now have them in the space of being like, this is for the birds. I'm working too hard. I'm stressed out. I don't want it. I don't need it. Stephanie is showing me a whole new way that I could bring this to life, even if it's for a few months, a year, whatever, to be able to explore a new way. And that's what is so exciting about the possibility, right? The possibility
Yes.
of being happy and well taken care of in a different place, because we also get fed this story that you are already in the promised land. You are
Yes.
already in America. You already have it good. And it's like, well, do I really? Because, if I want Whole Foods, it's a whole paycheck.
Hmm.
All the
Hmm.
other things that go with it. And so, I think we're opening our eyes to the reality that we can live well somewhere else for less.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the super chat. So on this channel, we give super chat money to a Black woman creator. I haven't. So last month we gave super chat money to Allison Blackwell, who's opening a bakery in Columbus, Ohio. We gave $737 in super chat money to Allison Blackwell. This month, I don't know yet who it's going to. So thank you, Lisa, but I don't know where it's going to go. I'm sorry. I haven't figured it out. March snuck up on me. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube, so YouTube money, YouTube ad money, it's not bad. So, I recommend anybody who's doing things, who needs clients, YouTube is a place to be. All right, so we have this. So you said that we've had like this awakening. So we are women on this channel who have an idea that we're going to do things our way, right? Whatever that looks like, we're going to do things a different way. Um, but we still have to live in a world where things are done the standard, the usual way, right? So how hard was it to what you? I'm so glad to hear that when you talked to your husband, you both were on board. But how hard was it to actually start making these changes? When everyone else is like, oh no, you have to keep the big house. You have to, you have to have these things, these signals of prosperity. How hard was it to say no? Actually, we not only do we want to do things a different way, but we're going to do things a different way.
It actually, when I took a step back and realized nobody was paying my bills but me,
Mm,
I was like, you don't get to weigh in because no one's contributing to the expenses that I have over here.
okay.
So, I didn't get a lot of pushback because that was just my comeback. Like, did you want to contribute to our mortgage? Did you? Oh, you don't? Oh, okay, great, great. No conversation needed. And
Okay.
I don't mean to be like rude about it, but it's just the reality, right? Like, you just don't get to weigh in. But in terms of the practicality of where to start,
Mhm.
we really started in the closet.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
for
let's talk about
me,
that.
I literally had 3 closets of clothes and stuff in storage in the basement. And so for me, when I started going through and I was looking and I was having all of these nice, expensive work quality dresses that still had tags on them, $65, $120, $80, boom, 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 all unworn and they're just hanging there. And shoes and coach bags and all of this stuff, and I just could see all the waste of
Mm-hmm.
what had occurred. I was just shopping and mindless and consuming. And so what I did was, it's called the Project 333,
Okay.
and it is a way that you can actually just choose 33 clothing items, including shoes and accessories, and you just wear that for a month. And so what I did was I picked out my favorite clothes and had 33 items. And that's what I wore for a month. And in wearing it, nobody noticed, nobody
Wow.
cared. I didn't get bored. And so then it was even more evidence as to why I didn't need all the stuff I had.
Let's
So it
talk.
created this crazy domino effect. And then we moved to the kitchen, and in the kitchen, I started looking around and I was like, oh, there's a Breville I don't use. There's a this I don't use. I can resell these things. So, and then my husband got on board and we started selling the stuff we weren't using and just like making the money back. So it started at the closet.
Okay.
I was sick. It started at the closet and then it snowballed to the rest of the house.
Let's talk about Project 333. So say this again: three of every clothing item, and this is what you're going to wear for a month. So 3 shirts, 3 pairs of pants, three.
No, it's a total of 33 clothing items,
Okay.
and it includes accessories, but you can kind of play with the rules of it.
Yeah. Do what you
And
want.
you wear those 33 items you can do 3 months. The author recommends 3 months.
Okay.
I started with 1 month just to see how it would be. And what you do is once you pick out your favorite clothing items and accessories and shoes and purses, um, you remove everything else and you
Ah.
put it in the basement or you put it in the guest room and you just
Okay.
remove it. And so then you're like, oh, wow, I have all this space. And now it's easier to get dressed in the morning because I have these items. I only have this small amount of laundry. It really ratified my whole mornings and I had time that I didn't have before. Because you know how it
Yeah.
is, you something, then you take it off and it's this whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And that was just removed by being able to do this. And then visually, to not have all of that stuff, it was just so freeing to just have my little items hanging there on the little rack and being able to grab them easily. And that was one place to start.
I really like that. I have had jobs where I wore uniform. I was in the army for 5 years. I've worked in a hospital pharmacy where we wore scrubs for 5 years or so. So it never really occurred to me how simpler like my mornings were or my days getting ready for work were when I didn't have to choose what to wear. But yeah, I like that as a starting point, right? As you just get rid of everything else, have these things, these are your choices. It's kind of like a minimalism boot camp. right?
Yeah.
You're all in. You don't have to do it gradually if you don't want. You can just jump all in.
Yeah, and you really can see, because the reality is we all have favorite clothes. So you're always going in picking out your favorite items anyway. There's stuff that you never hardly use. It's like aspirational clothes. That black dress or that thing you're gonna wear one day someday.
Yes.
And then you have things that, like, when you lose 20 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
your closet is full of all of these narratives that are distracting.
Yes, and sometimes depressing, right? Sometimes it's just downright sad when you look in your closet. I have all these things that I can't wear, either because I don't go to fancy things or the size is wrong or whatever. Yeah, so it's good to not have all that in your eyesight. So S says, so what about the energy and the motivation to do it, right? She's got the desire to do it, but how did you get the energy to, even on that day, take everything out of your closet and put it down in the basement?
So actually, this is a part of what I want to share as my kind of let it go method.
Okay.
And I have 5 steps to the method. And
Okay.
I think that what's missing for people is some of the pre-work that I actually teach when I teach my courses.
Yes.
And so the first step is basically to set a declutter goal, to get really clear about what you're doing. So some people get overwhelmed because you're thinking of the whole house,
Yes.
or all these things you need to do, and I say focus in. So is it the closet? Is it the kitchen cabinets? Is it um what else? The bathroom. Everybody has some area that they want to declutter that's driving them crazy. So I would
Uh
say
huh.
focus on a specific area.
Okay.
So, for example, my husband had 4 feet tall worth of records because he used to DJ and do all this stuff. But we only listened to like maybe 12 records.
Yes.
So his specific declutter goal was, there are 8 trash days in the month,
Uh-huh.
and he had 8 trash days to go through all of the records
Uh,
and either keep what he wanted to keep, donate, or trash. So anyway, that's the first thing, is to clarify what is the goal.
okay.
And then the second thing is to decide where you want to donate your stuff. So for some people, they're fine with just taking the things to Goodwill or Salvation Army pickups, and that's fine. But there may be local places in your area that you want to donate to, like a women's shelter. There's a
Yes.
place by my house called A Wider Circle, and they give clothing to women in need. And I'm a plus size woman, so
Right.
I really want to donate my stuff to people who need it, because we don't all, it's hard to find quality plus size donations. I
That's
know
right.
this.
That's right.
So I wanted to give back in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's another program people may not know about, and it's called Amazon Give Box. It's Amazon Give Back Box, and you can Google it.
Okay.
And basically, what it is if you have an old Amazon box in your house,
Uh
you
huh.
can fill it with like quality donations. So if you have nice clothes and things you want to donate, you can put them all in a Amazon box, take it to an Amazon store, UPS store. You don't have to pay for any shipping or anything, and it'll go to Amazon, and then they distribute it to different communities in
Oh.
need, like women, families, veterans, like all these different categories. And they actually have a website dedicated to explain what it is and how you print a label and all of that. So step number
Oh,
2
that's
is
good.
decide where you want to donate,
That's
because I
good.
see people get stuck because they have stuff they want to donate, but then they don't have a place.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the donations sit in the corner of your
Yes.
house and they never get taken care of.
Uh
And
huh.
that's frustrating.
I have a whole corner. Uh huh. I do. Yeah, because
Yeah.
so Goodwill. I don't know. So good. I have like feelings about Goodwill because you donate to Goodwill and then they sell it, right? And
Yeah.
then so I want to find places where I know the stuff is going to go to people for free. I want them to give the stuff as a donation. I have done Dress for Success back in the day when I had work business clothes. I did donate some things to our local Dress for Success, and I think that there are. If your community doesn't have a Dress for Success, they may have something similar. Like you said, you have a wider circle. So there might
Yeah, but I
be
think
something
you can
similar.
look around too. Like there may be women's shelters
Yes.
or different places where they could use that kind of stuff. They may need toys, yeah, toys for kids or different things.
Yes.
So if that is a value that you have, because not everybody has that value, I understand. Some people
Yeah.
are like they just want it off their
Yeah,
hands,
just get rid of it. I get that.
get rid of it. But then if you do have that value, you can find a place. So the Amazon box, you actually use an Amazon box that you already have.
Okay.
So a lot of people get, packages from Amazon and they'll take back any size box, a little box, a big box. They just ask that you fill it with quality donations. So don't put like grubby stuff in there. Put like really quality things in there.
Okay.
So
And then
that's
you just
two.
take it to the UPS
You can take
store
it
or
to
the
an Amazon store or a UPS store.
That's wonderful. Thank you for telling us
And
about that.
actually, if you want like current, my recommendation would be to go to the website, Amazon, Amazon Give Back Box is the name of it. And you Google it, and then you can see what the requirements are today, because they are always tweaking it to make it better. So I don't want to go into too many details in case
Yes.
it changes over time.
Okay. All right. So step
Yeah.
one, we have set our declutter goal. So I'm going back to Delaware sometime in the next couple of months, probably. And I have a room full of stuff that I moved when I left. When I left the country, I left stuff. I have a couple Rubbermaid containers. I have a full closet full of stuff. I have something in the garage that my dad keeps telling me to get rid of that I have not. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's been there since 2015. I have no idea. And I have just like so I have that stuff, and then I have another room full of the stuff that is supposed to be the donated stuff, right? so I'm gonna get started. My declutter goal, so, because I've been here with 5 bottoms. Normally I travel with like 8 bottoms, right? 8 pants, skirts, dresses. I've been here in Mexico with 5 bottoms, and I'm doing fine. So, right, I'm doing fine. I mean, we're not doing a lot. I don't go anywhere. But I'm learning that even what I thought was a little bit is more than I need. It's enough. So my goal is going to be is just get rid of. So my goal like clear out that closet? Is that a clear enough goal, or does it need to be like, I don't know?
Yeah,
It's clear.
it is.
Empty out that closet. Is that a good goal?
It's very specific
Okay.
and very focused.
Okay.
So I like the goal of clear out the closet
Okay.
better than clear out the room,
Okay.
because a room can have a lot of components.
Okay.
But if you focus in on the closet, if you focus on the dressers, if you
Mm-hmm.
focus on the bed drawers, because some people have beds where there are drawers underneath the bed, that pull out. So like make it very specific so that it's so measurable and so doable. And that's how you avoid the overwhelm. The overwhelm comes because you have just this big, big nebulous goal and it's too much to track.
Okay.
So yeah, so step one would be to identify the goal. Step two is to decide where you want to donate your
Yes.
items. And then step three is I recommend you have like 3 boxes or bags or bins. And it's a box for what are you going to sell? Because you may decide you want to sell some stuff.
Yes.
What are you going to donate? A place for that. And then another box for trash.
Okay.
Like, and that could be again, this could be bins, boxes, bags, whatever makes sense for you. And it could be in another room, a designated place, but just that they're clearly labeled so you don't get
Yes.
confused in the process. Because if you have a lot of stuff and it's just throwing everywhere, you're like, what goes where? I don't even know anymore.
Not helpful. Yeah. Then it's not helpful
Not
to you. Thank you, Kim, for the super chat. We've had a couple of super chats. I put them on the screen, but I haven't said your names. We appreciate your super chat on this channel. We are giving super chats to a Black woman creator, but I'm sorry, I don't know who March's person is. So if you want to hold on to your money, hold on to it until I know. But last month we gave $737 to Allison Blackwell, who was opening a bakery in Columbus. All right, so we've had a lot of questions about where to sell. So I've got my 3 bins. I fill up my sell bin for things that I think I can that are still worth a little something, and I can sell them. Do you guys have favorite places where you sell things in the chat? And Tosh, do you have you done reselling?
I have done reselling, and I've really done it at the community level. So I don't know that my examples are the best, because I used to, when I was selling, and I still was working in corporate America, we had like a big community where I could just send an
Ah,
email saying, I'm selling this. Does anyone want to buy it? And so I was literally selling to, there was thousands of workers in my company.
good.
So it was just kind of a part of of that culture.
Okay.
So that made it easy for me. We did sell some stuff on Craigslist and also Facebook Marketplace. Um, and those were the most popular. I did try consignment stores, but I found that to be a little bit frustrating because there was so much back and forth, and I wasn't into it. So I found that Craigslist and then my local chats were the best place to sell.
Okay, that's good of your company to have that. One of the hospitals I worked in had that as well, like through a newsletter. Yeah,
Mm,
I
yeah,
have.
same concept.
Okay, good. Yeah, I have sold things on Facebook Marketplace, right? So if you're okay with meeting up with people, right? Which is
Yeah.
everybody wouldn't be okay with, but if you're okay with meeting up with them and having them either come to your house or come to a neutral location to buy things, Facebook Marketplace does work. Junket says eBay is working well for them, so I assume that you're shipping things to people. Junket, I've shipped as well through Poshmark for women's clothing. I don't know if they do other things, but I know for women's clothing, Poshmark is a good place to resell. I, like Tosh, had and do still, to tell the truth, had a lot of things that had price tags, right? People on Poshmark will eat that up. I used to do so. Target used to do those like those brands, like those releases where they would work with a designer brand and make like a Target level brand.
Uh,
And I used to shop at those things like my life depended on them. I would wake up at midnight and, be all on the phone, all in the app trying to get that stuff. I had a closet full of that stuff. And the Poshmark ladies appreciated it. So,
and I'm just this conversation is reminding me that I actually sold some stuff to friends. So I did a personal post on Facebook, and I said, here's some pictures of the things I have. I'm going to open the doors to my home. You can stop by and visit and/or buy my stuff on these 2 days. And I've actually made some money. I had like 4 friends. They bought coats and dresses and purses, and I got rid of a good chunk of stuff that way.
good. Like
Clothes.
like a modern day yard sale, like a little
Mhm.
more organized than a yard sale. Well, even I've
Yeah.
even done a yard sale. I set up a yard sale in my brother and sister-in-law's house. I was like, everything must go. So even that does work. Like your community, if your neighborhood has a yard sale, that might be beneficial as well. I'm scrolling
Yeah.
through the chat to see what other places people are naming for selling things because you all know more. You will have had more experience than me at selling things. Let's see. But I did see Poshmark jump up a couple of times. Yeah,
And while you're doing that, Stephanie, I want to offer the last tip,
yes.
which is someone was asking, how do you have the time and motivation?
Yeah.
So when you have a clear goal, then okay, this I need to clean the closet. How much time am I going to give myself to do it? Am I giving myself a week,
Uh,
2 days? Like, what's the duration? And
mm,
so for me, what I found helpful is I would set a timer. I would usually give myself a week, and then my goal was 1 week, every day, 1 hour. And I would set a timer,
oh,
and I would put my phone in do not disturb, so I wasn't getting text messages or anything, so that I could focus and get it done. And for me, setting a timer and having a duration of how many days really made a difference. So I'm even using that concept now with our townhouse. So we have 3 stories, and we need to do every story. So we started in the basement in December, and the goal was we divided the basement into 3 parts because we have like a family room area, a utility closet, and a laundry room. So for 1 month, every week was a different area of the basement. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So, okay, so we're going to do the utility closet for 1 week. We're going to do the laundry room for 1 week. We're going to do the living area in the basement for 1 week. Now, sometimes we didn't need a week because at
Mm-hmm.
1 hour every day, you might finish in 2 or 3 days. But
Okay.
it was very clear the commitment and the focus of what area. Then we came upstairs to the first level. Our first level has a living room, dining room, and kitchen and closet.
Uh-huh.
So I broke it down to closet first, then the kitchen, then the living room, then the dining room, and then we need to come upstairs.
Okay, so that's good. Have a method, because it can be. It looks really overwhelming if you just say this whole space, right? We're going to do the whole basement. That's when it's
No,
hard to get started. That's when you don't have the motivation. If you say we're going to do this closet in the basement first, and you give yourself a time and out, right? I only have to be in there for an hour. That makes it a
right.
lot easier to get going and make progress.
Right. And honestly, for some people, an hour might be too much. And so I would say, experiment. Start with 15 minutes and then start with 30 minutes. But my kind of rule of thumb is to stop when the timer goes off.
Okay.
Because what happens is we don't honor our boundaries and we're, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
feel so good, I'm gonna keep going. And then the next 3 days you don't do anything and
Yes.
you actually don't make any good progress because you overexert it on the first round. So the consistency will help you get further. So just honor the boundary. If it's 15 minutes, if that's what you have the mental, emotional capacity for, do 15 minutes, stop when the timer goes off, come back to it tomorrow. And then see, well, 15 minutes felt great. Could you do 30 minutes? Okay, then go to 45. So I just want to say for the record, I didn't start out doing 1 hour with ease. I started out doing just like the 20 minutes and then adding on from there.
Good. Okay, that's really helpful. Because yeah, I feel better because I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Okay, so we're going to clear out this closet. I'm going to say I'm going to work on it. I'm going to start off with maybe I'll start off with 20-minute increments because I do a lot of stuff in 20-minute increments. That's how I divide my work day. I work 20 minutes and then I stop for 40 minutes. All right, so I'm going to do it in 20-minute increments, and I'm going to move section. I'm going to move section by section. I'm going to divide them into my 3 bins, and I'm going to decide where each bin is going.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
And
Now,
basically just rinse and repeat that everywhere you go. So even now, in our basement, we now have like this big area where we're putting all the sellable things that we're going to sell from throughout the house because we're
okay,
not going to start selling until early summer.
okay, okay. And then you probably have some things that you know you're going to sell, but that you need to keep using and that you can't separate. Do you just make
Yeah.
a list? Do you have a list of? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And we haven't fine-tuned that just yet because we're still debating on what our housing stuff is going to look like. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I'm going to need towels or a blend, so we're
Yeah,
still negotiating that stuff, but we'll
yeah.
come back to and probably have a master list of I want to keep these things for myself to use until we're ready to go like a couple
Mm-hmm.
weeks before.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, friends, are we ready to talk about the hard stuff? Are we ready to talk about the things that we emotionally are attached to and are hard to give away or hard to make a decision on whether we're going to give away, sell, keep? So I've seen a couple, I think Deborah, I've seen a couple people talk about books. Deborah and Deborah, I think, are talking about books that they're attached to and they just don't want to give away or don't know how to make a decision. So, how do we deal with that stuff that is not the easy stuff, the hard stuff to figure out?
Yeah. I feel like these are basically sentimental items.
Yeah.
So for some people it's books, for some people it's other things that may be sentimental to you in your home. I'm a big book person too, so I have a bookcase and books. And that's probably the one thing that I have. Can you have too many books? I don't know.
if it's possible, if it's possible, you're there.
That's what I have, too many books. But I feel like one of the things that so there are a couple things with sentimental items. So one is you could just keep one of a bunch. So sometimes, like, there may be several items clustered together, and you don't really need all seven of them. Maybe you just keep one and then donate the rest. So you have the memory, but not all of the things. So that's
Okay.
one approach.
Okay.
Um, Another approach is you could remake or repurpose items. So, for example, I had a friend who, ran a lot of marathons and was very athletic and did all these things. And so she had all of her T-shirts, which was sentimental to her,
Nice.
turned into a big quilt. One of those places where you send the T-shirt swatches and they turn it into a quilt. So that's how she was able to repurpose those sentimental items. So you might think of, oh, well, is there another way that I could use this item so that I get more use out of it?
Okay.
Um,
Very good. So keeping one of a set. You said that really quickly, but I never thought about that. You have this
oh,
collection of things, and I think I got to get rid of all of it. But maybe can you hold on to one to represent the many? Can I keep
yes,
one? Yeah, that's
yeah.
really helpful. That's really helpful.
And I think that, the other piece with all the sentimental items is that they may be sentimental to us, but the question is, are they sentimental to other people as well in your family? Like, could this be considered like an heirloom item? So, and heirloom might be too strong of a word, but even think about like pictures and stuff. So my husband's cousin had a big fire, and she didn't have any pictures of her mother. So as we have been doing this deep, deep purge, my husband found pictures of her mother. And so instead of him keeping those pictures, which are sentimental to him, it's more important to give it to his cousin so that she has pictures of her mother. And so it's kind of like an heirloom item that you could give to someone else that they would enjoy and find some value in. So that's another way to look at sentimental items, like, sharing them with others and letting them experience that joy.
Adelia, who's here in the chat, did that before she went to Honduras, before she moved to Honduras the first time. And she said she treated it kind of like a will, kind of like, I would want you to have this if I was no longer here. So I'm going to give it to you now. And now I get to see you enjoy it, right? I get to see you
Exactly.
experience it instead of just like reading from a piece of paper that this is what you're going to get.
Right, right. Yeah. And then I would say the last two ways to deal with sentimental things is to take a digital picture of it. So I had different awards from work and stuff, and like the pretty glass ones and all of this stuff. And then I was like, I don't really want to lug these things around anymore. So I just took pictures of them and then I threw them in the trash. I let them go. But that's okay because I don't want to lug that stuff around. So sometimes it may make the most sense to have a digital memory of it. And then the last thing, and this is a big one for me, and this was big with pictures because I am the girl who takes all the
Okay.
pictures. Like I've been taking pictures since the 90s, and I have like hard copy pictures. And I decided to use this threshold where I'm like, if I'm sitting in my rocking chair and I'm 80 or 90, is this a memory or moment that I want to try to remember? And so some of the pictures that I have, I'm like, I don't really need to keep this. So I actually just let go of a lot of pictures. And they were sentimental to some degree, but I had to make that threshold because I have to keep the context. I'm moving out of the country and I'm not keeping a storage unit. I have to make a decision about this picture today. So my decision is to either take a picture and make a digital copy of it or to let it go. I'm willing to let it go because I'm more committed to moving out of the country and having this amazing adventure for a year over holding on to this stuff. So that's what I keep bringing myself back to. Like when I get a little out of it, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, wait, nope. This is the goal.
That's
This is
right.
the vision. This is what I'm anchored in. This is what I'm moving towards. So this other stuff, I don't need to hold on to it.
This photo album is a sacrifice. I am sacrificing this photo album so I can go run towards my future. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I feel like this is applicable in so many areas of our lives
Mm-hmm.
where we have to keep anchoring ourselves. What's in alignment today? What makes sense today? It's not that you didn't value it when you got it. It's not that you haven't enjoyed it, but it doesn't fit into your life anymore. It doesn't fit into where you're going. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's okay to let it go and move on.
Mm-hmm. Taoist Dancer says she digitized photos with Flickr. Yeah,
Oh,
digitizing photos. Yeah, I think there's no turning back. Once you digitize your photos, you're like, oh, this was
this
simple. I can still look at it if I need to. I don't need to look at it. You're not going back. I don't know. I don't think you're going back to look at most of these pictures, but maybe
yeah,
you.
or letters and cards, like
That's right.
I had like a big old box of these old cards, people who I had totally forgotten about. And I'm like, I don't need to keep any of this because when I'm sitting in my rocking chair and I'm 80, I don't I don't need this thank you note.
That's
I
right.
don't
Mm-hmm.
need this card.
Mm-hmm.
So let it go. Let it go.
It served its purpose. Now it's time to let it go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can I also say, this could be like a second strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
we talked initially about the whole let it go method of identifying a goal, all the way, all those
Mm-hmm.
steps.
Uh-huh.
But another strategy is to do a no spend challenge. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of this?
Yes. We talked about this once before. I have not even tried a no spend challenge. So let's talk about that for our new friends here.
Yes. So I'm actually in the middle of a no spin challenge. So a no spin challenge is you get to decide the duration. So it's either a weekend, a week, a month, a couple months where you're not going to spend any money or
Mm-hmm.
you spend money on very limited things. But the way that it fits into this conversation is I'm doing a 90-day no spend challenge because I want to use up the items that I already have because
Yes.
I don't want to donate them because I'm going to be moving at the end of the year. So let me use up the candles, the toiletry, let me eat up the pantry, let me use up all the cleaning supplies, let me eat down what's in the freezer. And so our no spend challenge has been about not buying anything that we already have.
Okay. Okay,
And
good.
that's all in preparation of the departure at the end of the year. So it's a form of decluttering. The no spin challenge is a form of decluttering because you're using what you already have.
This includes like your pantry supplies, your kitchen stuff, yeah, all of that.
Yeah,
Wear your
toiletry,
clothes.
cleaning products. And I mean, for 90 days, I haven't purchased much of anything because, the freezer is overstocked, the pantry is overstocked. There's tons of, candles, toiletries, cleaning supplies, all of this stuff that we just kind of pile it up and then we don't really use it. And then we keep adding more to it. So it's
Yes.
like, if you know that you're leaving the country soon, take the time to use what you already have.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that stuff is kind of invisible, right? You don't see it every day. Even when you're sitting down and you're making your list of like, what's my buy, what's my donate, what's my trash, you don't think about some of that stuff, and then you think I've done it, and then you're like, wait, I have so much stuff. I still have
Yes.
like just things. There's food. Why is there so much food in the freezer? Where did this come from?
Right. And then we still go out and we still like, we end up buying things takeaway, food and stuff. And so it's a level of intentionality. I feel like minimalism and decluttering requires intentionality that is so worth it because you end up using the resources that you have in a more responsible way.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate. I feel like that's the ultimate goal, really,
Yes.
is to be
Yes.
responsible for the resources.
That's right. Use right. when you're more intentional about the things that you buy, the things that you bring in, the things that you use, you become in charge. I have felt like
Right.
my stuff was the boss of me. Like I really have. I have sat in my living room and hated every single thing. I hate this ceramic garden stool that I looked for weeks and weeks because it's just like it's in charge of me. Everything I have to do, I have to work all these hours and do all this stuff to keep this stuff, right? And then once you're like, I only have stuff that I need, then you feel like I'm in charge. I'm the boss of this house.
Or it's the stuff that you actually like. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're actually wearing the clothes that you like, then you feel more confident and you're actually getting your use out of them versus spending all this money on stuff that's just sitting there. And like you can't recoup those dollars unless you make the effort to sell those things and make a profit from it. But you know so yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm realizing, Stephanie, I didn't talk about, and I think this would be helpful for people,
Uh huh.
is to understand that there's 5 types of clutter.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So,
I got my notebook.
so when we think about clutter, we usually think about the physical clutter because it's the most obvious, and it really comes from consuming a lot of society stuff.
Uh huh.
But in the work that I do, I really help people understand that clutter exists in the physical form and the non-physical. And so we have physical clutter, we have mental clutter,
Mm.
and mental clutter is when you have, like some burnout and that stress and that harsh voice going on in your head that says you're not good enough, that has this like constant negativity about why things aren't going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's mental clutter,
Yes, it
and
is.
that requires some energy to really work through some of the stuff that comes up with mental clutter. Then there's emotional clutter. And emotional clutter is you're just going through the motions and you're not really dealing with your feelings. You're not really dealing with whatever range of emotions you might need to process. You're just kind of like pushing them to the side. And sometimes what happens is we do the retail therapy, the emotional retail therapy. So we go and buy
Yeah.
stuff that we feel like we should have, we want to have because we want to feel better, but we haven't learned how to express the emotions that we're feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
as a result, you end up with emotional clutter.
Mm.
Um, and then the last 2 types of clutter are digital clutter. So many people have like 25 tabs open, um, notifications coming from their phone. It's just all of this stimulation from digital clutter. Or your email has. I literally was watching a YouTube video the other day, and this lady had 35,000 emails, and I was like, oh my goodness, she has 35,000 emails. That's like a silent. Uh-oh, are
I
you
have
telling on yourself?
10,530 emails unread.
Oh, oh, geez.
Yeah.
But it's like it creates this background anxiety that we
Yes.
really look
Yes.
over. And as we become a more digital society, with you getting digital receipts, getting information about Zoom calls, getting information about your insurance, like all the things come through your email.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a way or system to manage it, it starts to become digital clutter, and it makes you inefficient, ineffective. You feel overwhelmed. You
Yes.
feel like you're missing things.
Yes.
It is a real form of clutter that I've helped people through. And then the last one is the financial clutter. And financial clutter really comes when you may be someone who you have so many things and you keep buying them and you don't realize that you're buying the same thing twice. So I've done this
I have
where I
too.
was so busy, I didn't even realize that I had 2 Audible accounts under 2 different emails, and I was paying a 2 times subscription. And I was like, what in the world was I doing? Oh, I was so distracted. I was so overwhelmed. I was so busy. I was hustle, 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 not paying attention. And now I've spent all this extra money that I didn't need to spend. So those 5 types of clutter: physical, mental, emotional, digital, financial, are the types of clutter that I want to help people deal with, and really understand the importance of them in terms of addressing them and really unpacking unpacking what's there. So I don't want us to lose, physical is important, but I don't want us to lose sight of these other non-physical forms of clutter
That's right.
that need our attention.
When you said they bring anxiety, they do. Like it's just it's probably just as stressful as seeing the stuff in your face, right? That you wear it, you carry it around with you all the time. So yes, I'm so glad you brought that up because I don't think about those things, right? Even me, I'm planning on going back to my parents' house and emptying this room out. Even I haven't thought about what is going on with my digital clutter and how do I get a handle on this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like, to really turn down the noise, and that's part of what keeps us feeling like, "Oh man, I don't have a quiet moment," and we're responding to all of the alerts and it's like jump, 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 all these
yes,
things going off. We're not designed for the world that we've created for ourselves,
that's right.
unfortunately.
That's right.
And so, there's some things that we need to take the time to deal with and manage and create systems around so
Mm-hmm.
that we can feel confident about the choices we're making
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves, for our kids, for our families.
Thank you,
Yeah.
friend. Thank you, friends, for the super chat. No, we are giving super chat money to a black woman creator, but I haven't picked one for the month. Maybe we'll just give this to Allison, the bakery owner in Ohio, or maybe not. I don't know how to do it. Y'all know we're the Vicarians. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to organize this. But the super chat will go to a black woman creator. I don't know who. Maybe the same as last month. She's still working on getting her bakery equipped. Maybe a different person. Maybe we'll split it. I don't know. But thank you, friends, for the super chat. And we've got Tasha's website on here. Tasha's putting together. She's going to put together like a summary of today because she's given us steps. She's given us she's breaking things down for us. So she's going to give us a summary of today and a checklist, which will be in the description if you're watching the replay after, let's say, after a week from now. It's there. The link is in the description. If you're watching live, sorry, you're gonna have to come back. Just come back and get the resource that Tosh is creating specifically for us, specifically for women who are getting themselves ready to go, right? Who are making a conscious decision to declutter. Okay, she's putting that together. Tosh is a decluttering expert. She helps people walk through this. So I did see El Lang, I did see your comment in the very beginning. How do I work with Tosh? I put her um, website on the screen. She is toshpatterson.com. Now I can't
Yes,
find it again.
I'm happy to help people unpack it all.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to share this quote. So I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing called the story of your stuff.
No.
So it was a small film created in 2008 by this woman who was really interested in what is the journey, what's the life cycle of our stuff? Like
Okay.
why as Americans are we consuming almost 2 to 3 times more than we did 50 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on? So fast forward, and she's part of these projects on Netflix where it's a new documentary called Minimalism and another thing. So I went back and watched her small little story of stuff. And this quote really struck me, and I want to share it because I feel like it's so important for us to think about, especially as for those of your audience who are going to be making the transition to live in another country. We don't want to go there and be extra consumers either.
No. That's right.
Like where you travel and you buy up all of this stuff and then you're just creating that cycle again in another country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I travel, I like to buy things that I'm actually going to use later, like a bottle of perfume or a necklace or a dress, something that's practical and not just stuff for the sake of stuff. And so that's the intentionality piece. But anyway, this quote is kind of long, but I hope it lands because
Okay.
it really landed for me. And so this man named Victor Laveau in the 1950s, he helped create the American economy that we know today. And basically, they said that America needs to be a consumer based society. like the whole purpose of our economy is to create consumer goods. That's the boiled down version of what he said. But let me read it in its totality and you can tell me how it lands for you. So he says, our enormous economy demands that we make our consumption our way of life as Americans, that we convert the buying and use of goods into rituals, that we seek our spiritual satisfaction, our ego satisfaction in consumption. We need things consumed, burned up, replaced, and discarded at an accelerating rate. That was created for the American economy in the 1950s and has been the base from which we operate since then. So can we see how we're sucked into this way of being that we have to actively push up against? So how does that land for you all?
I mean, he said it needed to be done and he did it, right? That is exactly what life is like in the US. When you go outside and you go other places, you feel and see a marked difference. People make fun of Americans as consumers, right? And how consumerist we are. But it's because there is a serious difference between the way other people do things and the way we do things. And that we're not only consumers, but that means that we have to continue to be workers, right? We have to, this is why we have to work until 72, right? Because we have to continue to be on this consumer wheel. I know, I feel it. I have definitely, he said we need buying to be our ritual. It's been my ritual. I mean, I've had times where it was just a habit. I'm leaving work, TJ Maxx is across the street, I'm going to TJ Maxx. I don't need anything. I don't need anything. I'm already
Yeah,
mad at the stuff I have, but I
right.
must go into TJ Maxx. I get a little bit of a buzz, a little hit of whatever that is, endorphin rush, whatever. With this new thing that I love for 10 minutes, by the time I get in my car and get home, I don't care about it that much anymore. But that was absolutely where I was and have been for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not surprised to hear that someone has had like expressed it, but it also makes me sad that there wasn't pushback, right? Like the whole, it's like our entire economy was like, we agree, we're all in,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Vicarians have decided Super Chat is going to Tosh today. So thank you, friends. She is a
Oh,
creator. She's a black woman and she's a creator and she's changing us today. So we're giving her the Super Chat. So thank you for that.
thank
Yes,
you. I
okay.
received it.
Yeah, we appreciate you all. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, Deborah is saying retail therapy. Yes, I have done it, I have seen it, and it's just normal, it's natural. But when I tell you, when you leave the US for a long period of time, it's not normal in other places. Australians
Yeah.
do it too. They say they don't, but they do it too. But in other places, it's just not. They're even the people with money. Like, I don't know that I've spent a whole lot of time with people with money in traveling, but it's just a different look, right? A different move. They're just not into buy, more, store, buy it, store it, buy it, store it, like we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and okay, I don't want to go off on like this crazy tangent, but I do want to say this. I watched a documentary a few years ago, and they were talking about for Black people specifically, part of the reason that we would buy things was so that coming out of slavery, if you had money, you wanted to have a physical thing
Yeah.
that was yours. And then
Yes.
that became a way and part of our culture that has just ramped up all of these decades later, where we are buying stuff to show, our worth and our value, but it comes out of something. So, when you look at that's what was being created in the 1950s for Americans as a big umbrella. And then you take another step back and you look at what was happening for people coming out of slavery and feeling like they needed to participate in the economy by having something that was theirs. You can start to see how we just become unconscious to shopping as a
Yes.
part of who we are. So it's really deep, it's really complex, and it takes something to unlearn it, but it's worth unlearning, it's worth pulling back from so that you don't have to work so hard and do so much, and you can actually have the mental, emotional, and physical space to enjoy what you want and do what you want and not
Yes.
have to work so hard.
Yes, yes. So I can understand why. So this is not like shaming us, right? I can understand why we feel like we have to um, accumulate things, right? There's some
Yeah.
security, there's a sense of security in having the things around you, right? Even having your money in like a physical manifestation instead of having money that you don't like, is it real? Well, if I
Right.
buy this purse, that money is real. So I
Right.
understand where it comes from. Yeah, so I don't want to feel, I don't want people to feel like we're shaming you for doing that because I've done it, and
At all.
we'll slip back into it very easily as long as I
Yeah.
leave the U.S. As soon as I come back, first I got to go to Target, right? I got to buy a bunch of stuff I don't need. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, maybe another day I can share my experience working and traveling around the world, but I lived on a ship for 4 months. And during those 4 months, I really didn't buy anything at all. And then I came back to the US and we were stopping in different countries at different ports, and I would get a thing here, a thing there. Then I came back to the US, and I think I lasted like a month of not buying anything. And then I just got sucked back in because we watch TV and there's marketing and there's radio, and it's just the bubble that we live in. And so
Yes.
um you know there's no shame, it's just awareness now, and,
That's
and
right.
shift, yeah, and remembering what it is we want that's so much bigger and greater than the actual stuff, and giving
So,
ourselves permission to get it.
so are you gonna label yourselves as minimalists now that you're deciding to go to Mexico for indefinitely with your, with your little bit of stuff? Are you taking on the minimalist labels? Is that something you're interested in
I feel so
declaring?
I feel conflicted about minimalism, because I feel like I think it is good to be a person who does not have a lot of stuff because it gives you freedom. However, I do think that the shadow dark side of minimalism is that people then feel like they need to have specific items so that they look minimalist. So I
Yes.
want this type of rug, I want this type of sofa, and I'm like, well, that just defeats the whole purpose of the minimalism movement. And so, I think I'm on the more organic side of minimalism where I have less stuff because it's less stuff to manage, less stuff to worry about. That feels good to me. But I don't know if I'm going to use the label or not. And then I also feel conflicted because I don't feel like there are a lot of Black people in that conversation. Like when I look around at people talking about minimalism, I don't see a lot of people who look like me.
No.
And so I'm not sure what that's about. So I haven't really reconciled these things for myself. So I'm not sure um, where I land.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Even though I'm in Mexico with five pairs of pants only, I don't. I don't. I think this is kind of like the feminism womanism argument or like issue. I think that
Yeah.
minimalism is a way to tell people to deny yourself the good stuff, right? Deny yourself the pleasures of life. I'm not down with that
Yeah,
whatsoever.
no, 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 no. Yeah, no, I don't want to be those sad minimalism people. Yeah, I don't want to be that person, but I want it to feel good to me. And maybe that's it, is that I want a definition of minimalism that works for me. And I want people to not compare themselves up against me because
Yes.
your version could be very different. If you grew up in a house that was it had a lot of stuff and things on the counter, and now you don't have things on the counter, that could be your minimalism. That
Yes.
could be your version of it. So I think it's also contextual.
Okay, Yolanda says her husband calls her reductionist. I like that. I watched a TEDx talk with a woman named Christine Platt, a black woman named Christine Platt, who is like championing Afro minimalism, right? Keeping, yeah, keeping the stuff that has significance to you, you know. because they are sad. Those minimalists on TV, that Matt D'Avella is the one whose name comes to me first. But they're like,
Oh
even
yeah,
they're
they're on the floor.
sitting on the floor with I have two forks, and
Yeah.
I have a love seat, not a full sofa. It is competitive. Adelia and we talked about this the other day. There is like competitive minimalism, and that seems to defeat the purpose. Like, you know, the whole idea is to have more joy, not be a sad sack sitting on your floor
Yeah.
shooting a video
Yes.
with no lamps in your house. Yeah, so I'm going to link to the TED Talk if you're watching the replay. I'm going to link to Christine Platt's TED Talk on Afro minimalism. She says, yes, you can be a minimalist. She's a black woman. She's got like a mason jar full of cotton, right, in her home, which is like a something to, like the way you talked about having one thing that represents the many. So that mason jar full of cotton is her representation of her ancestors, her black womanness. And so we want to keep things that have meaning to us and things that just make us smile. I buy little dolls and little heads when I go places in Mexico. I bought the little Day of the Dead skulls, and of course I needed 3. I could have done with 1, but I needed 3. But they really make me smile, and I name them after my mom doesn't like this, but I named them after my grandparents, right? So I have and they just make me happy. They make me smile. And so I have 5 pairs of pants and 3 sugar skulls, right? And I decide how much of a thing I want, how much of a thing I need. I don't have to be like competing with other minimalists who have zero. This is my apartment and I have nothing on my walls. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other piece of it too is giving yourself the space and the permission that it changes over time.
Yes.
So, maybe those 3 skulls bring you joy now and you keep them for a year, 2 years, 10 years. And then at some point you're like, oh, I'm ready to let this go, or I can give this to someone else because I want to bring in something else. So I feel like there's a fluidity that is available in the process that we can also acknowledge that, it's okay for things to change. It's okay to let things go. It's okay to say, okay, I really I want to experience something new.
Yes. Yeah, we're not doing things to be stuck. The whole point is not to be stuck. So yeah, I like that you said that there is fluidity. Things come and go. We release some things, we bring in some new things. All right. Okay, friends. What have we not touched on? So Tosh gave us, well, I wrote down 4 steps. You gave us 5 steps, right? Set a
What?
goal.
I realized that I've said 5, but it's only 4.
Okay, good. We've even decluttered the goals. Okay, so we are setting a declutter goal. We are deciding where the stuff is going, right? Where to donate. We are dividing our things into 3s, right? Sell, donate, trash. We're giving us a time frame to work on this project. We are going to be consistent with our work. We're not going to burn out doing this thing. So we're not going to do a whole house in 12 hours. We're going to set a time goal as short or as long as we feel is appropriate, but we're going to do it consistently instead of, like full-fledged doing
Crash
it
and burn.
and then you crash and burn, exactly, and then you don't touch it again for 6 years.
Right.
All right. We talked about the what to do with things that you're emotionally attached to. Tosh gave us really good info on this, right? If you have a set, maybe keep 1. Keep a representative that represents the set. Repurpose things that you have into other things that are useful. Give things to family, pictures, heirlooms, and heirlooms don't have to be fancy things, but just things with meaning. Give them to family. Digitize things that can be digitized, and then we talked about the 5 types of clutter, which, whoops. I thought I had 1 project, but now I have 5 projects: physical, mental, emotional, digital, and financial. All right. Okay. So you guys have been super active in the chat. Again, super chat. We're going to give our super chats to Tosh, who is a Black woman creator. So thanks, Tosh.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, thank you. No, like seriously, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Yes, Lang. She loves the idea of incremental decluttering. So everybody, do you have your goal? Does everyone have like some sort of declutter goal that you want to tell us? I told you that I'm going to empty out that closet. I don't know when I'm going home, but I want that closet emptied out within, we'll say 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks is once I get there. I think it's a walk-in closet, and there's containers in the closet, and there's like, it's a good amount of stuff. But I'm gonna give myself 3 weeks from when I get there. Lily says, "What
That,
are the 5 types of clutter?" Can you repeat the 5 types of clutter for us, Taj?
yeah, sure. There's physical clutter, mental clutter, emotional clutter, digital clutter, and financial clutter.
All right, Justice. This is the best Saturday afternoon date I've had during this during this pandemic.
Aw. No,
It's nice to hang out with you guys. Always. It's always nice to hang out with you guys. Yeah, so we're talking spring cleaning on the channel all month long. So this I thought this was going to be about physical decluttering, but it ended up being about more types of decluttering. Next week we're going to talk about decluttering those voices in your head that are saying this isn't safe for you, right? So next week I have Mayor Meets World. Mayor Meets World's coming on next week, and we're going to talk about that. She does a lot of travel. She's a Black woman. We're going to talk about the travel isn't safe. We're going to declutter that. We're going to just wipe those cobwebs, move those out of our brain. That's next
I love
Saturday.
it.
Yes. All right. Okay, and we
And
didn't mention
so the-
storage. Last week we had a quick convo about storage. When I told everyone that you were coming on this week, first thing that came up was storing things. Storage is never a good. Is storage ever a good idea? If
no, I am not a proponent of storage. If you have storage, you don't really need it. That's my own opinion about it. I literally had storage once in my life when were we sold our full size house. We moved into an apartment, and we didn't know where we were going to go next before we bought the townhouse. And the storage that we had, when I tell you like the monthly expense of it, it's just bananas. I think that if you can, please avoid storage, long-term storage. And if you do have long-term storage, I would say set an aggressive goal so that you can clear it out. Literally, I was in Bali leading a retreat, and my husband was so fed up with storage. When I came home after 12 days of being gone on the retreat, he was like, I emptied the storage. Don't be mad. The house is full of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can't be mad at you because I agree. Like we're just paying for our stuff to sit here, and do we even need all of the stuff we're keeping? And by him loading it in the house, it really forced us to go through everything, and we did what we needed to do. So I would say if you have storage, my recommendation would be to set a time goal. By what date do you want to not have storage anymore? And go through everything
yes.
and
So
deal with it.
everybody's putting in their goals, like their decluttering goals. We've had clean out a closet by March. 5 weeks to go through my closet. I see that. Yeah. So thank you, friends, for sharing your goals. I believe in saying your goals out loud, even the things that are not right going to paint you in the best light. Right. So yes, I'm Stephanie. I have a closet full of stuff. I have stuff in my dad's garage. I don't know what it is. I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah. So we're going to share these goals with each other so that we can be in agreement that these are the things that we're going to work on next. One more word about digital clutter. Digital clutter is all of that stuff that happens that gives you anxiety, right? Your inbox, all
Yes.
those emails that you're getting that you don't need, all those apps on your phone. I'm gonna tell on Rashida. Rashida had so many apps on her phone that she couldn't find. She couldn't find the app that she needed because she has so many apps on her phone. I also have a lot of apps on my phone. Yeah, that's digital clutter. It's all the yes, all the tech stuff, all the
Notifications. notifications, emails, and being organized with it. I mean, literally, even do you have a way that you pay your bills every month online? Is it organized? Is it systematic? Like, so really getting more organized with our digital footprint, because it's increasing every year. We're becoming more and more digital. And so how do we deal with that in a way that's not overwhelming,
Yes.
and we can find what it is that we need quickly? And so you don't feel like you're hacking through your email looking for stuff that's important.
Oops. Yes, that's me. That's me. All right. Thanks, friends, for the
And
super
you
chat.
know what, in the we didn't go through all of the questions that I have for,
Okay.
some questions you could ask yourself when you are decluttering. I can put that in the summary checklist that we send out.
Okay. Good. Okay. Good. We'll do that. We will. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to rush you, but
Oh,
this
well,
could go on
I'm gonna
forever.
go through them. Why don't we just go through them and see what comes up for people?
Okay.
But
Okay.
these are basically 5 questions to help you decide if you want to keep an item. Because I know that everybody approaches how they process their stuff in a different way. So for some people, the timer aspect with a specific time duration, as well as a timer, is going to feel good. And for other people, they need to have a more like mental processing. And that's what these questions are. So
Okay.
if you're that type of person, this might be helpful to you as
Okay.
well. So the first question is, does this particular item contribute to your happiness or your productivity? So if it doesn't do that, then why do you have it? Just questions, no judgment. Do I have a similar or better item? So
Mm.
sometimes we go and we buy like 7 pairs of jeans over however many months, and then you realize that the best item is here. I don't even use those other ones. So do I have a similar or better item? The third question is, would I pay full price for this in a store today? So if I had to buy this item again that I'm holding in my hand, would I pay full price for it again today? And then the next question is, if someone offered me half price for the item in my hand, would I sell it? And then last question, if I move tomorrow, would I take this with me no matter what? That last question is good, especially
Uh-huh.
if you are someone who is preparing to move out of the country. Like,
you,
would you take this with you? If you could never come back to the US again, would you take this with you?
that is a question that is going to help you make some hard decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I know that people process this from different perspectives. And so for those of you who need that kind of more mental item by item, one of these questions might resonate with you and help you start to get the wheel moving on all the stuff that you have.
Yes. All right. Very helpful. And thank you, Wanda. Thank you for going through and writing the questions out in the chat because I didn't think to do that. But yes, so thank you for doing that so everyone can see it. And then in the replay, don't forget that you'll be able to get
What's
the
the link?
the link to that, so you can have these in I was gonna say on paper,
We'll do
but
like
in
the workbook. Yeah.
yes, yes. Okay, thank you very much. All right, friends. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
super
This is
helpful.
wonderful.
This was wonderful. I agree. Thank you. Okay,
I'm
so
loving
you guys, so even those of you who are here with us live, come back to get that. I'll once we have a link to it, I will put it on the community tab so that YouTube will show you on your home page that it does exist. Okay, because like everything else, we want you to make progress. Yes, it was wonderful to hear from Tosh, but we want you to do, right? We want us to do. We want us to implement. So when we have the worksheet from Tosh, I will let you know, and I will keep you abreast of my own progress. I may start. So while I'm here, I may start some digital declutter.
Ooh, I feel like that's such a great workshop, like just a standalone thing. Is that's like, would people be interested in some systems for how you could start to get a hold of your digital clutter?
I'm gonna guess that's a yes. Listen, by the time, let's see, are you guys interested in doing doing a workshop with Tosh on digital declutter? Let's see. Okay, first yes, yeah. Okay, so we will. Do you don't have a YouTube channel, right, Tosh?
No, not I'm not blazing at it like you are. Not I don't have an active channel. I tried many years ago, but then I didn't really do much with it.
If you decide that you want one, you come holler at me. I will help you. But we, because I think YouTube is the place to be. I think it's the place. As you can see, right? You can grow a community on YouTube. I can't even see y'all's faces, but I feel like we're in the same room, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. So we've got a lot of yes, please is about the digital declutter workshop. So please, Tosh, when you do your worksheet for us, let us know how we can participate in a digital declutter workshop. I can't even keep up with the responses from everyone. Okay, they said
Let's do it.
Justice says she needs a whole series. Tasha's busy. Tasha has things to do. Okay, she's
Oh, I love you guys already.
she's emptying out her entire home so they can go to Mexico by December or January. I also vote for December because I'm team boycott winter. I vote for December. Ain't no reason to
I really
stay until
feel about
January.
October.
Ain't no reason to stay until January. No, not where y'all live. No, indeed. Y'all have had enough
Yeah.
winter. Enough winter.
It is winter here. I got on long sleeves.
Yeah, I'll vote for the ASAP as soon as possible. All right. Okay. So one more time, I'm gonna tell you. Make sure that you guys come back when you see that notification. Click on that link so that you can get the information from Tosh, for the summary of today, like a worksheet from today, and find out about the digital declutter workshop that she's putting together just for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited. This is so much fun. I feel like a little bit of a nerd, but I know that it's so important because we need the time and space to enjoy life.
We do.
And if you're not caught up with all that other stuff, then you can chill a little bit and just enjoy your family, your friends, read a book, explore the world, whatever it is.
Yeah, yes. It's you said you feel like a nerd. You can see how excited we are. So we are right there with you. We're right there with you. Yeah, we each need a decluttering mantra that fits. Yeah, let's everybody get your turn your goal into a mantra that you say. Yeah. Yeah, we you can see clearly that it's something that we need. We need to hear from. And like we've said a couple of times, you just don't see black people or black women represented in this conversation. And we
Mhm.
want to do it our way, right? We want to do it in a way that serves us. So I'm so glad that you came on today to talk to us. I'm so glad that you hollered at me. So Tosh was like, I want to come and talk about my time on the boat. And I was like, girl, don't nobody want to be on no boat right now. It's not the right time. But we will. I do. Tosh was employed by Semester at Sea, or like Tosh. Y'all know Semester at Sea, or maybe you don't. It's a school on a cruise ship. So Tosh worked for them. So one day we will talk to Tosh about that time, but I don't want to. I said,
Yeah,
don't nobody
yeah.
want to be on no boat.
No, no, no. But travel is, a conversation. I'm excited to talk about that too, and all that comes with it. So many layers, and so much self exploration comes out of that whole journey.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. It's amazing how you go to travel just to travel, right? Just to see stuff. And man, you come back a different person. You get to come back you get to take off those layers, you get to declutter the US stuff, right? It's in
Yeah,
us. It's in us, it's on us, it's all through us. You get to remove all that stuff and you get to find you. I
and
did
I
not.
say it's the scripts. Like you're really burning all of the scripts that are consciously and subconsciously running on your human database, and letting some of that go, because a lot of that stuff doesn't serve us, particularly as Black women.
Mhm.
And we need to reframe. We need a new way. We need a new narrative. We need to write a new story, and it's time. So, thank you, Stephanie, for showing up and and holding space for people to see that there is another way, that they be safe and exist in the world, period, and outside of the US.
Yes. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I love it. I love it. I love that I get to do this. I love that I get to meet people like you and all of you guys. I love it. I'm so happy. Life is very different for me than it was in 2014 before I made this decision. No,
Mhm.
no question. I'm a different person. I love what I get to do. I love what I get to talk to you guys about. I love that I get to hear you guys talk. Yeah, so I recommend it. The moral of the story is quit your job. And you too can, can feel this feeling. I want you all to feel it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All
And
right.
okay, I will just say this one last thing, but
Okay.
it's so amazing to me that when you make a decision, like when you are in alignment with yourself and you have clarity, the resonance, the congruence that happens in the world is
Yes.
absolutely stunning
Yes.
and marvelous. And we know, as Black women, as Black people, we know struggle and we know pain. But what it's time for us to learn is absolute joy and
Joy.
abundance and flow and happiness, and to step into that. And the way that you can step into it is to be in alignment in yourself, because it's scary, like, oh, if I leave my job, all these things. But when you know it's time, when you just start have that clarity for yourself and you're in alignment, the doors will open. And it feels scary in the beginning, but it is absolutely marvelous to watch it at play. And the same is true once you decide that you're moving out of the country and you start sharing your enthusiasm with others, and you're in that resonance, you have that alignment, things will start to open up. So just know and remember that as we close out this conversation, that if you are clear about what you want, the universe will rise up and meet you, no doubt. Just be ready to receive that joy, that abundance, that wonderfulness that is yours. It's your birthright. You deserve
Yes.
every bit of it.
Yes, yes,
Every,
yes, yes, yes. All of it. And we want you to
yeah,
grab it. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, friends. Okay, we'll see you again next Saturday. I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you, Tosh. Well, listen, I'm just gonna have to cut it off, Tosh, because it's never gonna stop. Okay, and we gotta go. I gotta go drop some laundry off to my laundry lady.
I am so glad to have met all
Uh-oh. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So you guys, so that wasn't me doing that. And Tasha, I don't know if you can see me. That wasn't me. I'm on Ecamm Live and they only give us 90 minutes and I forgot that. So they were like, your interview was done anyway. So that's perfect timing. I'm sorry, Tasha. I owe you an apology. I apologize for the way it cut you off. But they're saying your interview time is over. You only get 90 minutes. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you as always for your generosity, for your community, for your fun. Thank you. So nice to see you guys again. Thank you for rolling with the 4 p.m. If you think 4 p.m. is better than 10 a.m. Eastern, tell me. I ain't got no place to be. So you guys seem to be okay with this. I don't know. I think for Saturdays, 10 a.m. is best. Okay, so we'll probably keep with that. But thank you so much, friends. So wonderful to see you again. And I will see you next Saturday where we're talking with Mayor Meets World. Bye.